Hey there, internet friends. We're about to explore some of the weirdest spots on the web, so grab some snacks and come along for the ride. And don't forget to subscribe and give us a thumbs up. Let's jump right in. So, I'm a 31-year-old guy, and I've been happily married to Lucy, who's 30, for over 3 years. At least, that's what I thought. For her last birthday, I surprised her with a makeover, and that's when I started to notice some changes. Lucy has 3 makeup styles: a quick look for running errands, a polished office look that takes about 15 to 20 minutes, and a glam date look that can take 30 to 45 minutes. When we were dating, I mostly saw her in the date look, and she always looked amazing. Usually, she sticks to the office look during the week, but when we go out, she pulls out the date look, and on weekends, it's all about the errand style. That's when I started to feel like something was off. She began wearing her date look to work once a week, and sometimes while shopping on weekends. I brought it up one night, and she said it was just for special occasions when they had client lunches or meetings. But I noticed that on the days she dressed up, she often came home late, claiming she was busy with a project. A couple of weeks ago, I took my car for an oil change and decided to run it through the car wash on the way back. I figured I'd give it a good vacuum too. While cleaning out the trunk, I found a small bag tucked away. Inside were her toiletries, makeup, and some clothes. At first, I thought it was just her gym bag, but then I spotted a used and dirty lingerie set, and my heart dropped. I didn't say anything when I got home. Instead, I started doing chores, trying to wrap my head around it. Eventually, I took an air tag from one of our suitcases and slipped it deep into a pocket of her bag in the trunk. Susan, my work wife, has become one of my wife's closest friends. We share almost everything, even things you shouldn't tell a colleague of the opposite sex. I confided in Susan about Lucy's changing makeup routine and late nights at work. I asked her if she thought Lucy was being unfaithful, but Susan quickly denied it. She assured me that Lucy was just trying to boost her self-confidence. However, I noticed Susan's nervous tell, indicating she wasn't being entirely truthful after working together for 8 years. I didn't mention finding the bag in Lucy's car. A few days later, Lucy joined me in the shower, and things escalated. This was unusual since I only received certain intimate gestures from my wife on special occasions. Feeling confused, I checked the bag in her trunk and found fresh clothes and different lingerie. On a Saturday morning, Lucy mentioned going shopping and having lunch at the mall. I insisted on joining her, despite her reluctance. I wanted to spend more time with her and get her opinion on a new dress shirt. Although she seemed annoyed, we ended up going shopping together. The following week, I left a note in the bag. When I returned home on Thursday, Lucy was acting strangely. I asked if she would be home on time, but she couldn't give me a definite answer. Later, I noticed her location moving away from the house. I tried calling her, but she claimed to be in a meeting and promised to call back. I decided to surprise her with a snack and a latte, but her AirTag showed her heading back to the office. I picked up the latte and a sticky bun for her. I made it to her office just in time to catch her rushing out the door. I went inside, dropped off her latte, and mentioned that I'd see her at home later. By mid-afternoon, she was heading in the same direction as before. I sent her a text saying "I love you," along with a big heart emoji. A few minutes later, she replied with a "Me too." The bag stopped moving, and after about 10 minutes, I tried to FaceTime her, but she didn't answer. Shortly after, she started blowing up my phone with texts asking me to please answer. When she got home, she asked me how long I had known. I told her I had wondered when she started changing her makeup routine, but wasn't sure until a couple of weeks ago when I found the bag in the trunk. I told her to inform Susan that she was a bad liar. I said the divorce would be friendly, and she could then have her new lover without me in the way. She asked if there was any way I could forgive her and avoid the divorce. I asked her for the whole truth, how long and with whom she had been cheating. She said it had been a couple of months and asked why it mattered who it was. I replied that I didn't want to accidentally shake the hand of the man who ruined my marriage. She finally revealed it was a coworker and gave me his name. I made her call him and hand me the phone. I introduced myself and said I knew everything. He should confess to his wife before she finds out from me. And then I hung up. I told Lucy she needed to block him and cut all contact, but she said she had to work with him, which would be impossible. I said I couldn't see any way this could work if she didn't. I told her I was done talking, and she needed to think about how she was going to fix this. I was level-headed enough to record her confession on my phone in case she tried to change her story later. The next morning, I left early and waited for my boss outside his office. I told him I couldn't work with Susan anymore for personal reasons. After talking to our boss, Susan confronted me in the hallway, demanding an explanation. I told her that I knew she had lied to me about Lucy's actions and that I couldn't continue working with someone like that. She apologized, claiming she had told Lucy to end the affair before I found out. I expressed my doubts, saying it would just be another lie. As a result, I lost my best friend and my marriage is now in jeopardy. I managed to get the contact information of her coworker's wife and plan to send her a copy of Lucy's confession tomorrow. I also have a meeting with a lawyer to discuss my next steps. My wife believes we can move past this, but she hasn't explained why it happened. I feel overwhelmed and unsure about the future. I had a productive meeting with the lawyer this morning. He provided me with advice, a worksheet, and a list of do's and don'ts. We have another meeting scheduled for Friday, and he will begin the paperwork today. He cautioned me about informing the other wife, as it could have negative consequences. At work, my boss presented me with a short list of candidates to replace Susan, and I need to make a decision quickly. Susan reached out, apologizing and wanting to meet for lunch. The office gossip is buzzing about Susan's removal from my team, and there's a lot of flattery directed towards me. Lucy was called in by HR and put on a performance improvement plan before lunch, so it looks like Lucy's affair partner quit this morning and totally threw her under the bus during his exit interview, saying they were having their little fling on company time. Now she's freaking out about getting fired, which would totally mess up the divorce situation. Guess the lawyer was right about this coming back to haunt me. As for all the praise I've been getting for staying calm and handling things well, I should mention I've dropped 7 pounds in the last week, and nothing I eat seems to stick around. I can't sleep for more than 3 hours at a stretch, and driving has me on edge. I called my doctor, and he gave me something to help with sleep, but he wants to see me tomorrow for some tests, including an STD check. Lucy and I are in separate rooms now. I haven't brought up divorce yet, and we've got a couple of therapists lined up for Monday afternoon. Talk about a makeover leading to a breakup. It's like she took New Year, New Me way too seriously. Who knew makeup could be the ultimate sign of relationship trouble? If only there was a tutorial on how to cover up infidelity. Maybe she thought a smoky eye could distract from the shady stuff. Susan should have studied deception instead of whatever she does for a living, but at least now we know who to avoid when it comes to sharing secrets, especially if they involve lipstick and lies. As for Lucy, she's playing a dangerous game with this office romance. Mixing business with pleasure is a guaranteed way to end up with a pink slip and a divorce all at once. And her coworker really took leave work at work to a whole new level, straight to HR. Update. Lots to unpack, so I'll try to be brief. Sunday dinner with Lucy's parents, they are very conservative. Toward the end of the dinner, she said we were going to counseling because she got caught cheating with a coworker. Her dad grilled her at the dinner table and later yelled at her behind closed doors. Lucy cried most of the way home, saying that her dad now hated her since all communication from her mom has been through Lucy's sister. Therapy for me felt like taking a test where I had all the answers and already knew my grade. Lucy finally provided a timeline of the affair, and then I got to ask some questions. Did she do anal? How many times did she blow him? Since it was always rationed for me, how many times did they meet? Did she use condoms? How many times did I get sloppy seconds? Was he bigger than me? Who knew? Did they trash talk me while they were screwing? Did you lick his butt? There were others, but you get the idea. I didn't believe her answers because I couldn't trust anything she said now. I finally had a chance to tell Lucy how I felt, and we discussed a few things she needed to do, like confessing to both our parents about what she did. Our therapist talked about what we needed to do going forward and gave us advice on what to consider before our next session. But that was about the extent of our conversation before we ran out of time. I will say one positive thing. She never blamed me for the affair or said I wasn't fulfilling her needs, forcing her to seek them elsewhere. The FaceTime with my parents went great compared to hers. They were both pretty stoic when she told them. My dad did say he was very disappointed in her decision-making. That's as close as my dad gets to calling someone the W word. I told a few of our friends the details, making sure that a couple of them were the type to do the work for me. Lucy has been beside herself answering questions from all her friends. She has made me some ludicrous offers, an open hall pass, opening the marriage, and other sexual favors. I told her 2 wrongs don't make a right, and I wasn't the one who wanted an open marriage. Tomorrow is Thursday, D-Day, and she gets served her divorce papers around 9 a.m. What I wouldn't give to have a video of her getting served and seeing the look on her face. Why isn't that a service the process servers offer? I was waiting until after tomorrow to update this post in a new one. Should I create a new update post or simply add it to this one? I know that the affair partner's wife got my message. Lucy's phone is blowing up. It would seem the affair partner's wife heard the recording and has packed up her 3 kids and moved to a hotel. After she talks to a lawyer, she is moving in with her parents 200+ miles away. She left a voicemail that would make a pirate blush. Talk about a family dinner that left a bad taste in everyone's mouth. If only they had served shots of truth serum instead of gravy, and therapy sessions didn't turn into Q&A sessions. Yikes. There are just some things I don't need to know. As for those ludicrous offers, it's like she's trying to bargain her way out of a cheating scandal. That's like a Black Friday deal. An open marriage? More like opening Pandora's box. The next day, her affair partner went to work early and turned in his notice. Before leaving, he threw my wife under the bus and confessed most of their rendezvous happened during company time. I met with a lawyer and got divorce proceedings underway. Last Thursday, she confronted me, and I avoided her phone calls all day. I had a neighbor couple over when she arrived, and they witnessed the tantrum she threw. She hurled several items at me while yelling and screaming. The police were called and arrived just in time to see her throw a glass at me. After hearing the story from all 4 of us, they asked if I wanted to press charges, which I declined. They told her she needed to find somewhere else to spend the night and escorted her while she packed a bag. Her sister showed up and took her back to her apartment. Upon learning about the events at my house, my lawyer wasted no time in obtaining a restraining order against my wife. When she received the restraining order, she had a panic attack or a nervous breakdown and had to be taken to the ER, where they kept her until Tuesday morning. On Sunday, her sister came by the house and packed up the rest of her things to take them back to her place. I asked how Lucy was doing, but her sister only gave me some attitude. On Tuesday morning, her lawyer finally reached out to mine, and they have meetings scheduled to discuss a settlement. At my lawyer's request, I have an appointment with a therapist he recommended for later in the week. A sincere shout out to several of you who have let me vent and offered encouragement privately. Anyway, goodbye for now. This story has been a whirlwind of emotions, from the shock of betrayal to the struggle for healing. Lucy's affair and the fallout revealed the deep impact of broken trust and the tough choices that follow. How do you think the situation was handled? What would you have done differently? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this reflection and want more content like this, subscribe and hit the notification bell. Thanks for joining us, and see you in the next video.